I always like to start with, well, what is the problem? What are the problems that we're trying to address? And in my view, there's really two here. And one is the gross depletion of the reef fish. And I really haven't heard anyone argue against that. And everything I read shows that. Second, it's that too high a portion of these fish are dying short term through the travel or just wherever they end up, that they're sensitive. And I think that in terms of what we're doing here, or trying to do, we're largely looking at how do we sort of cut back on the amount of fish that are dying and have indirectly affect the decrease the number of fish that are taken. But I do think a number of the council members have brought up, well, is this really where we want to be going? And as Gregor Ilgan said, council member, we can look at the short term and the 24-hour and all of that, and that's really looking at how do we keep them more alive while they're traveling to someplace else. But that I do want to keep the big picture in mind, that we're losing them. I mean, I can remember when I first came here in 1970 and 71, my favorite thing was going snorkeling. That's what I did all the time, and now you just don't find the fish. And I know that it's not just from the aquarium trade. I know it's caused by many factors, but we need to start somewhere. And just sort of going to that whole issue of sustainability, I see what we have in common, our waters, our fish, our air. We do have a public trust responsibility, and as I see it, sort of as fiduciary. We're the trustee to take care of them, not just for our generation, but for future generations. And so I want to really keep that is our duty, and how do we do that? And when you look at that issue of sustainability, there's the environmental sustainability, and these fish are part of that web of life, and losing them in many places, we're disrupting that web of life and the other reef life. And the cultural aspect, which Kealoha and others brought up, that sort of the aina, Malama aina, is really all part of nature and our relationship to nature and what we're doing there. And also, one thing I don't think has been stressed, I want to focus on the economics. I mean, all the letters that I've read over the past few years of people coming here, tourists, and not who used to come here snorkeling and no longer come here. Really, I see that where we can have our environmental issues and our economic issues tied together, it's really critical, and it is that preservation of our aina, which includes the coastal waters, and in my opinion, just on a home rule level, those coastal waters there is a county jurisdiction unless it's in conflict with a state law. So I think that we all have a lot of questions, and that we think this is an important area, and there are a lot of different aspects, and we're all looking at it, and we need to go further. I do want to say that whatever we do, I think that we have to, however we transition into whatever we do, whatever decisions we take into account, we need to think about how we are impacting those who are currently involved, and how we do that in the most ways that are the least disruptive to our economy. But at the same time, the overarching principle is that we preserve our reef fish here for the current and future generations, and as part of that web of life. So I'm going to ask that we postpone this to the call of the chair.
No, you can't make the motion.
Yeah, can I have a motion?
I move to postpone to the call of the chair.
Second.
Any discussion on postponement? And I think that we've brought it up. Ms. Ford, this is going to be one of her last times. I think maybe she'll come back and testify. But that it is complex, and we do want to address a lot of issues.